This is the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast.
Oh no! We suck again!
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games.
It is caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Kansas City!
Anthony for three. Bang!
How's it going, sports fans? Welcome to the Ruckus and the Menace podcast, episode number 41. I'm Spenace and Menace.
And I am Ruckus, always causing a ruckus.
And on this episode today, we will be recapping the NFL's divisional playoff games. We will be looking into some basic sport headlines that have gone on within the past week. We will be predicting the AFC and NFC championship games for what we think. We will be looking at the pros and cons of certain situations in the NFL in color commentary. And our prime time game will be another NFL trivia challenge where we look at the offenses of NFL teams based off of certain colleges that position players for the teams attended, and Ruckus and I are going to have to guess them correctly in as quickly as possible. But kind of to start off with a little bit of announcements, kind of one of my major things that has been going on really in the recent thing has been a good amount of planning, like trying to coordinate things simply because of my wedding coming up. But funny enough, Ruckus, that there happens to be another thing that we're kind of coordinating earlier on in that same week.
Indeed.
As this show this show is, or this podcast is about to be a year old. And funny enough that this also kind of runs weirdly jointly with other events going on in one of the host lives. On top of that, this was not in the script. This was not in the actual planning script when we, number one, decided to even start this podcast, or two, in how just the oddness of the scheduling and how things work kind of just seemed to run along the way. But during that time frame, yes, we are going to have kind of an episode where we kind of break off a little bit from the major sports talk and actually kind of just have an episode to celebrate.
Yep, and we plan to have, we haven't really given the details of who we're going to have with us, but we will definitely have maybe a few special guests. We do not know who they will be, but they should be familiar. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Or at least it's especially familiar to us. But
yes, they're not like Travis
are...
Kelce or anybody like that. It's just people that we know in our community.
Oh, I wish we would have been able to land them and kind of really get into that. And if that ever were the case, we would be having that hyped up as some new news.
But... yeah, I was gonna say, I could be like the Mahomes new news guy, be like new news, and then you could be like new news. I'm just like, I'm like the party pooper in a sense, like new news.
Oh, Gronk actually took it in stride. Gronk took it actually in stride too. So
of course he did. He's freaking Gronk. Man had a Monster Energy ad campaign, and literally a can of his own edition of Gronk and for Monster Energy, and it was delicious. Okay, it was delicious.
Oh, but other than this planning, it's been working. finding a little bit of time for just some fun along the way. Out of town this weekend. So I leave Friday, come back Sunday. And funny enough, Ruckus, this is one of those times where you probably are gonna wish you had a Nintendo Switch.
Oh, I have
And
a
if you
Steam
have
Deck,
it,
son.
oh, but here's where the fun part is. The Switch now with the online expansion pass, they're getting Goldeneye's coming out. And it actually has an official release date
Nice.
for when it's coming into the expansion pass. It's this Friday.
Nice.
Yeah, this Friday it's dropping in.
So you're just playing are you
So,
just doing a mini LAN in your car? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I know that I probably won't be doing a whole lot of Goldeneye because I'll be traveling, but it's at least going to be there, and I might be dabbling a little bit into it. I don't know if I'm going to do a whole lot of the online multiplayer, but it may be something that I kind of just dabble around a little bit because I really don't have a major game that I'm wanting to, or should I say, I feel pressed to finish, because though Mario and Rabbids is one that I'm wanting to finish, or at least I would love to finish, I'm probably not going to finish it just because I kind of just want to play some new I kind of want to play some new stuff, but there's really nothing new coming until, or at least nothing new that I want to play coming until later on.
Yeah, and I think Atomic Heart's the next big game that I'm looking into playing, because I think that comes out like, let me look it up actually.
February 21st, because Atomic Heart is one that is loosely on my considering, but I'm going to be doing a lot of wait and see at this point because I don't know the developer of this game very well.
Munfish, who is published by Focus Entertainment, which I believe is a Coke company, Coke Media company. Focus Entertainment
Have
is a
they
French game developer.
have they made anything significant?
They made a game called Sherlock Holmes, but I think that might have been a long time ago.
Yeah, it doesn't. And what kind of stinks is that they're trying to make this AAA price. If Munfish is a little more of an indie company, I don't see why I would want to pay AAA price for a game that may not have the quality. Unless this game, for me, open critics into possibly the, like, in the 77 to 80 to 82 range, I may not even give it a look.
If you have a gaming PC, you could probably use PC Game Pass, but to like get it for $15. But obviously, I don't
Yeah,
know how well your
I'd be
rig would play.
oh yeah. My rig wouldn't run it, but I've also gotten rid of Game Pass because I was going up onto the highest Game Pass as well, but I also let go of the Xbox too. So
Yeah, that's why I was saying like probably not in the cards just yet. I don't know. I have it pre-downloaded on Game Pass just to see if it's worth the money too. I'm on the same boat with you.
But I'm in the PS5 camp with that, so I could pick it up for PS5 because it's going to be for PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
It's just, do I want to throw away a little bit of investment that I could have into a couple of other games I want to try and scoop up, or am I going to play Atomic Heart?
Yeah.
Am I going to play Atomic Heart and try and flip it back and just take the $30 then and try and flip it back into something else that I will want? But But that's the hard part about the decision making sometimes, and trying to find the thing here. It's just I have to do my I now am doing a little bit more of my due diligence to, if I'm not familiar with it, research it and kind of see where it goes, and do it that way. Kind of be a little more selective on the ones I play. Like I can't play stinkers. I gotta find the bangers.
Yeah, I feel that. The only other game I'm looking forward to that's coming to PC is Last of Us Part 1. Which I think is on March 1st. And then yeah, I don't know.
Hadn't you already played a whole bunch of that? Like, didn't you even play like all the other ones back when they were already previously out?
I did not because I mean I meant to try and play the PS3 version of it, and then I just neglected to play it. So I still haven't played the original ones. I've seen gameplay for it.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong, everything's brilliant. And the show that's out, I've heard brilliant things. I haven't even delved in.
Me neither, to be honest
I
with
haven't
you.
No, it's I haven't dove in. But I'm wanting to. I'm wanting to dive. I'm wanting to dive in. I just don't have. I don't have the time, and I know that, or I don't have the full extent of time, simply because we've been so focused on football and podcasts. There's a little too much that I'm kind of invested into at the moment, so I
Yeah.
can't really drop a dime and go right into that without sacrificing something. But it
Yeah.
might but it if I'm not gonna pick up a game if I'm not gonna pick up any sort of gaming, I might actually look into at least getting a look into the first episode here within the next couple of days. Not impossible.
Yeah.
And I see that you've kind of just had a simple little like Dark Tide MLB the Show. I did
Yeah,
do a little bit of catching up, like a little bit of trying to get my feelers back
what
on
a
MLB.
divisional game it was for the Chiefs. We will get into that later. But yeah, I mainly watched football because I was trying to. I've been paying a lot more attention to just sports in general so that I could get a better understanding of how I portray certain things versus just what's on my mind at that time and what other people say about it whenever I look at summaries for things. Um, but yeah, I maxed out my first character in Warhammer Dark Tide as well for the video game sake of things. It's a zealot preacher. For those wondering, level 30 is the max that you could do currently on Warhammer Dark Tide. Fun game, and now I'm playing as a orc that's very muscular, and his name is Shaq. I thought it would be a funny name for an orc because he'll be shacking a fool, just like running through enemies and stuff. And also, I've been
Yeah.
playing a little mix of MLB the Show as well. Whenever
Yeah.
I'm like in the middle of watching football, just so if there's something like if there's a boring time in the commentary for like a game, or if they're in halftime, I can just play a quick game of MLB the Show like franchise mode or something.
But we do have we're probably going to do this maybe around late February, early March. We will have a primetime game involving MLB the Show. So I think that we are getting a getting a little warmed up. I kind of gonna be hesitant about picking up the new game for right now, just simply because I kind of want to see what else is new going into it.
Yeah, and I'm also just waiting for it to come to Game Pass because I don't really want to invest too much time into this game like I did last game because I don't know. Last game was kind of a grind, but we could talk about that later on a different episode. I think
Yeah.
we should get right into our starting lineup since we spent a
Yeah, we
lot of time
really.
on our pregame.
Well, there's not a lot. There's not a lot. That's the thing. I think what's made our pregame and kind of that just run a little bit longer. I kind of was giving it a little bit more room to marinate on the pregame because we really don't have a ton in this starting lineup this week. I think we're gonna start in baseball, and that Scott Rolen has now been added to the Cooperstown, pretty much the National Baseball Hall of Fame by the Baseball Writers of America. He joins Fred McGriff in the Hall of Fame class. Adalberto Mondesi is now a member of the Boston Red Sox.
Paper bones! Paper
And
bones!
you say that because he's injury prone?
Yes! Dude, there were so many moments where I was wondering if they were going to trade Mondesi just based off of, or either trade him or DFA him, but for whatever reason, they would just like keep him on the injured list or whatever instead of like. I think they had a lot of faith that he would
Get
turn
healthy.
around. Yeah, like turn around, but like he was having like it was like hip surgery or hip problems or leg problems or something. And at one point he had a performance enhancing drug thing that took him out for a little bit too. I think it was like some type of like special Dominican Republic flu medicine or
Yeah.
something. I don't remember what it was, or it might have just been a steroid because there was like horse tranquilizers or it's something that is considered a horse tranquilizer for some players. But it was a long time ago, but still, he has not played very many games in the MLB when it comes to the years versus how many games he's actually played in his career. He's a decent player when he's healthy, but I call him paper bones mainly because it seems like whenever he walks on the field, he'll pretty much be guaranteed to get injury, which doesn't say a whole lot when it comes to just the in general way of how the league works or how any sport would work where if you play on the field you have a chance to get injured, but this man got injured a lot. But also Josh Taylor, which is the pitcher that the Royals got in the deal, um, plus cash considerations, he's also had an injury history as well. But I don't know if it's as severe as Mondesi.
Yeah. I don't expect Adalberto to be a starter.
I
I
feel
mean,
like he's gonna be a backup. Yeah, I agree. When I saw
yeah,
that, and
the hardest part about this is really, since we've let go of Bogarts, it's what do we do with Trevor Story in the meantime before Marcelo Meyer works his way up the minor league system.
you do realize that Story has the UCL surgery that he's on, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, I just want to make sure you're aware of that.
we're gonna start with Adalbert. We're starting with Adalberto in short, but it's not like Trevor Story isn't going to be at that position at some point.
Right. And then Michael A. Taylor going to the Twins as um we got I think it was Evan Sisk.
Yeah, I mean, really, you guys have traded away a lot of your higher overall players. I very much anticipate the Kansas City Royals in MLB The Show 23 Diamond Dynasty to be one of, if not the cheapest in terms of stubs for completing the collection.
I wouldn't go that far with it. But I see
Wait.
where you.
Who do you think's gonna be cheaper?
I think, well, maybe the Orioles or the
No.
Diamondbacks.
Not the Orioles.
Maybe the
The Orioles.
Rockies.
The Rockies. You still got Chris Bryant, and they're not gonna make Chris Bryant cheap. I mean, Chris Bryant will end up being cheaper, but I don't think they're gonna make him all that cheap. The Baltimore Orioles. I think the Baltimore Orioles are going to start the season with at least one diamond. And that is a bold prediction that I could almost say you probably should take that one to the bank.
Okay. So I just looked
and that
at
diamond player that I think the Orioles will start with is Seti Ball.
Yeah. The minor league pitchers that we got for the Michael A. Taylor deal include Steven Cruz, who's a number 28 prospect on the Twins, and then Evan Sisk, who in AAA had a decent season on his MILB career stats. He was 5-1 with a 1.57 ERA in 50 games with one save. And then for his MILB career stats altogether, he's 11-8. I don't know why they have two different things. Maybe it was because he was in like triple or double A and then other teams, but I don't know.
Not a starter. Oh, did I say something? I said not a starter.
Oh no, you're fine.
You're trying to brag on him like as if he possibly could be a starting pitcher. I'm like, no, this is a reliever. This is
it looks like Cesar Hernandez has also been signed to a minor league deal with the Tigers. This is a bigger news or a new news development. Not to confuse it with the new news of the Kelsey brothers.
Yeah, I mean that's a developing thing, but it's not that serious.
All right.
But now the next thing we will get to is the NBA. The Phoenix Suns purchase is expected to be completed in time before the NBA trade deadline in early February. Because Robert Sarver is selling the Suns, a buyer has been put in, been approved. They just want to make sure that the transaction goes through.
That's pretty cool to sell your Suns away.
I mean, granted that Sarver also was the owner of the Phoenix Mercury, and I don't know if he's even going to have to sell that.
Kind of a toxic chemical compared to selling your Suns away.
I think he's just. Oh, I just think he's dealing. I think he's just dealing with trying to have too many celestial bodies in his hands.
I gotcha.
But where I was going with this is that the McDonald's All-American list for high school hoops has also been announced, and it's headlined by a certain familiar nepotism baby, as some of us could controversially state it as Bronny James is headlining that list.
LeBron James. I know it's Bronny, but still.
But at least Bronny is. It looks like he's going to be decent, but I think he's going to be built smaller than his. I think he's going to be built a little bit little bit smaller than his old man. He's gonna be about a little bit smaller, so I think he's probably gonna be more of potentially a 2 when he finally hits the NBA. I mean, I've heard anonymous coaches have said that recruiting him's a royal pain. But it's hard to tell where Bronny is going to go to college, if he even does. Because the NBA has developed so many different wraparounds. He could go to G League Ignite. He could go play pro ball in another country. Or play college ball here stateside.
Yeah, I was just say, couldn't he still get a degree and work on that later if he wants to focus more on basketball and just play pro, or not play pro, play in the college for like a year or so or 2?
Yeah. That's what I also said, is that the potential of him being a one and done prospect too is something too to go along with it. Yeah. But last but not least, we have the NFL. And that the finalists have been announced for the major NFL honors. I'm going to start with a few of the undercard stuff. The only one that really they did not mention anything for was the Walter Payton Man of the Year, because we already know all the nominees for that. But Assistant Coach of the Year, Eagles Offensive Coordinator Shane Steichen, 49ers Defensive Coordinator D'Amico Ryans, and Lions Offensive Coordinator Ben Johnson. I think I know exactly where this goes, but we will talk about that next week. Coach of the Year, the 5 finalists: Sean McDermott from Buffalo, Philadelphia's Nick Sirianni, San Francisco's Kyle Shanahan, the Giants coach Brian Dable, and the Jaguars coach Doug Peterson.
The dog.
And what makes me so sad about this, there is no room in the inn or the finals for MCDC. Motor City Dan Campbell.
Would you say that's dirty deeds done dirt cheap?
No.
Sorry, I made an ACDC.
Ruckus, that's ACDC.
I know, but I was thinking that was dirty deeds by the NFL being like, haha, MCDC is.
Oh.
That's why I was saying dirty deeds done dirt cheap. Dirty deeds. Yeah, I'm really bad at singing. It's okay though.
No, you had the idea. It just was absolutely terrible timing.
Boop, 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 boop.
Comeback Player of the Year. But now, where were we? Comeback Player of the Year. Geno Smith, Christian McCaffrey, and Saquon Barkley. I really hope
that's a
this
close
goes.
one.
I think I know where I would be sending this thing.
Saquon.
No. I'll tell you that next week. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Well, we actually technically could wait 2 weeks on that, but because of the Super Bowl, but I think we might be able to do it in one. Defensive Rookie of the Year: Aiden Hutchinson, Sauce Gardner, and Tariq Woolen. I think I know where that. It's obvious where that one's gonna go.
Yep, it's stirring in the pot as we speak.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, and this one I really think there's enough players that got that got shafted. Brock Purdy, Kenneth Walker, and Garrett Wilson were the 3 finalists.
That's kind of lame. Not gonna lie, that's pretty lame because there was many other rookies that probably did better than that. I mean,
Okay.
Purdy is a good one. I don't know about Wilson.
I actually had Garrett Wilson on that list of the 3 that I would have put in. I would have looked elsewhere for. I think because Brock Purdy got into the realm so late, got into the season so late, I don't think he was eligible enough for an offensive rookie of the year. Olave was a little inconsistent. Drake London took too long to get rolling.
What about Pickens?
George Pickens dealt with a lot of inconsistency at quarterback. Besides, I think I would have rather put Kenny Pickett up there at that point. Kenny Pickett. Some other ones that really I thought would have gotten a little bit more shine, but I think an injury derailed it. Jahan Dotson. Olave, I think, had an injury that kind of derailed a little bit.
Was Robinson a rookie, or was he more just like a...
Brian Robinson?
Yeah.
Yeah, B-Rob's a rookie. B-Rob is technically a rookie. He's a rookie. And not really quite a comeback player of the year, unfortunately. Defensive player of the year is between Micah Parsons, Nick Bosa, and Chris Jones. I think I know where I am going to. I would place my vote if I had one.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me.
Yeah, it's tough, but I think I know exactly where I would place it.
Yeah.
Offensive player of the year. Mahomes, Hurts, Tyreek Hill, and Justin Jefferson. And this is where I think a few players might have gotten robbed.
Yeah, especially if there's 3 times in the ballot where Mahomes is mentioned, like Walter Payton, MVP, and then this. I feel like that's kind of a...
Come on, if you're gonna make the MVP so quarterback heavy, offensive player of the year needs to not be quarterbacks.
Seriously, though, yeah.
If you're gonna make the MVP so quarterback heavy or matter so reliantly on a quarterback, that wide receivers and running backs need to have their own category for award. And this is where Derrick Henry gets a little bit of a snub. Let's see, Derrick Henry. That's notably the biggest one that I definitely saw. I think ultimately the offensive play of the year probably will go to Justin Jefferson. But I'm shocked also that Travis Kelce was also not on this list of offensive player of the year finalists as well.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But the MVP finals race. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and Justin Jefferson.
What the hell? Why do they have one wide receiver in that whole thing? And then it's like, oh, here we go. Here's like 4 quarterbacks that did really well, and then you know that one guy that you
led the league in receiving.
Yeah, but still, you still have like four great quarterbacks, and then you're like, oh, we're just gonna sprinkle in a little bit of a JJ over here, just so we don't make it so quarterback heavy, even though we literally have four of those. That's why I was saying, what the hell, man? Pick a goddamn side. Quit playing chicken, for the love of God.
Oh my.
That's why I was like, really? This is pathetic.
Oh, I guess not everybody can be Colonel Sanders.
That's my rant for the day.
Well, I was just gonna say, not everybody can be Colonel Sanders and deal with chicken or play as much chicken as he wants.
Yeah,
But
that's for sure.
But in that digression, I think we move on to the high heat and talk about the divisional weekend. And Ruckus, as we always will start out. Which team impressed you the most this week?
My most impressive team this week is the Cincinnati Bengals for their performance against the Buffalo Bills.
Actually, I'm going with even in a losing effort, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
For sure, for sure.
Because they put the fight to Kansas City despite dealing with some struggles accuracy-wise with what Trevor Lawrence was doing. And that team showed no quit. It came down to the last bit. And the Jaguars gave it everything they had. And the future in Jacksonville is bright. And I'm sure that we will hear more often the cries of Duval throughout the next NFL season.
That is faux show. Faux show.
And while we were impressed with these two teams, we weren't necessarily all that impressed with a couple of others.
Disappointed! My most disappointing team for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs was the New York Football Giants, as they looked like they were sitting down for a movie just to get stomped by the Philadelphia Eagles, as the Eagles flew to the top to get to the NFC Championship game. But it was a very big turnaround for the Giants, as last season and the seasons before they were not the best, but this season they improved dramatically with their new coach Brian Daboll, and that guy has really turned it around for that organization. It also helps that Saquon was healthy and Daniel Jones was healthy, but yeah. Giants had a good season, but this week they had a very disappointing end.
I did not put the Giants in my most disappointing team this week because I kind of saw this coming. However, there was one thing I definitely did not see coming. And this leads to my most disappointing team, and that is the Buffalo Bills.
Duh, Bills.
They did not, it was a snow game in Orchard Park, New York. You have home field, and you're playing against a team that probably could apply a little bit of pressure on you. Mix it up. Run the football. Find some Find some things there. Work the West Coast. Control the clock. I know, Josh Allen, you have a rocket launcher for an arm. But you don't have to necessarily use the rocket launcher. You can use the 9mm short distance pistol in your arsenal to hit Stephon Diggs and get him some rack. Dawson Knox for reasonable yardage. You've got checkdowns that you can do a few different things with, and that we're getting a little better in moving things along.
I think the problem was that even if they went for a run play or a pass play, they were just dominated by the Bengals defense that whole game, it seemed. That, and when it came to the defense of the Bills just in general, the Bills defense looked lost out there. There were a couple plays where they got to Burrow or got to Mixon and company, but it just wasn't enough, especially in the beginning when they scored the touchdowns. And in my opinion, the Bengals should have worn their snow leopard uniforms. They would have really blended in then too because of all the snow.
I think they did actually.
No, they didn't. I was talking about their helmet. They should have worn the snow leopard one, the white one.
Yeah, the only thing they didn't do was the alternate helmet,
which would have been really cool, to be honest.
It would have been awesome had they done it, but I think there's a limit. I think there's a limit on to how many games you can use that helmet, and they really use it during the regular season. But whenever the postseason kind of comes around, there's no resetting it. I think they went back to the original helmet.
I think that's kind of weird that you say that because, like, in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs wore their all red uniforms, and they don't always do that. But, like, I don't know. I guess that's different from just the helmet itself. So I digress.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. The snow leopard stuff was great, or the snow tiger stuff looked great. But I'm talking. The issue was the alternate helmet, not the actual jersey.
That's fair, yeah.
And what player were you most impressed with this week?
Not only for on the field actions, but off the field actions, Isaiah Pacheco of the Kansas City Chiefs.
You've been high on this rookie quite a lot this year.
Dude, he's a 7th round pick out of Rutgers, and this man, I feel like, is going to have a brighter future than he already has right now. He's very humble. He runs like he's about to, like, take the turf with him on every play. The dude just reminds me of, like, if Gronk was a running back, but, like, less, like, clunky like a Hummer, and more just speedy and just tough like Gronk.
Are we talking kind of like this whole if Rob Gronkowski and Tyreek Hill had a baby together?
Whoa, too far. No, I was thinking like
I'm talking like with the power of Gronk, but yet runs hard and fast like Tyreek Hill.
I would say fast, but not hard. Like, Hill was more just super speedy, whereas Isaiah Pacheco can actually keep the ball and just be tougher altogether. Hill, yeah, he could juke you a bunch, but most of the time he would just beat you with his speed. It wasn't really toughness.
Yeah.
The man was small and speedy. Just kind of how you want it there. A good combination. All right, Spenace, what do you got?
Taking George Kittle. And the first thing that I have to say, dat catch dough. That circus catch that he he moved through that so smoothly that he caused a Dallas secondary member to whiff, trying to hit him to knock the ball out. But the ball was off the hand, off the face mask, and then into his hands. And then managed to still kind of keep running for a little bit. So, yes, I am taking George Kittle, who crazy, like a WWE professional, because he is a big WWE fan and pro wrestling fan. But he kind of takes that character and does a great job of like making it feel like he's like his personality, like his actual personality kind of like stems through a little bit of his character, like that character that he could develop all he wanted.
Yeah. Would you say? Would you go as far to say he's like a buff Steve Buscemi in a way? Maybe that was a little too far, but I mean.
I mean, granted that he did come, or at least one that is a good producer of tight ends that have made the NFL.
Yeah.
Which I will tell you, I did not use San Francisco for this. So, yes, George Kittle was an Iowa Hawkeye. But I think that also what was interesting is that I think I was talking in the pod that Travis Kelce was also mentored for an early portion by the same coach that coached up Kittle at Iowa. So that was an interesting parallel that was notable. But now we move on to the Eastwood section of this.
The good, the bad, the ugly. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
All right. So, Ruckus, what was kind of something good?
All right. So the good this week for me is a very competitive matchups for both the NFC and AFC championship, as you have the Chiefs versus the Bengals, which is a rematch from last AFC championship. Very interesting. And then the NFC being the 49ers versus the Eagles, which I feel like that one's going to be a very entertaining matchup. I have a feeling it's going to be very close and to the brim, but my thoughts are that the Eagles are going to fly away with the victory. Possibly. The defense of the 49ers is still good, but when it comes to like the run, they're probably not the best, but they're still decent.
My good this week comes from San Francisco, and it was the short memory of Ray McLeod. fumbled a punt, but then you had Ray making plays on the other end, kind of treating himself kind of like in the concept of the poor of being a twin, like being in like a sort of familial type thing. And that, oh yeah, you gotta wait a little bit to have this drink that, yeah, I don't have a whole lot left to pour you some. So I mean, Ray McLeod, even though that big kickoff that he took following the muff and the initial turnover didn't really amount to any points, the fact that he still was able to just shake off a bad play and turn it into something that was highly valuable, wow. That's how redemption stories are made. And what was not so good?
My bad this week is the Bengals beating the Bills, causing a neutral site to be a non-existent. And
I'd love to
kind
have
of
seen how that would have worked. But yeah, it made for also a good trolling moment for the Bengals.
Also, I think it's kind of hilarious how whenever I was talking about my bold take or burning question last week of being like, if the Bengals beat the Bills, wouldn't it pretty much just negate the fact, like the whole like narrative of, oh, there's a neutral site now for the Bills Chiefs if they go in, when the Bengals absolutely stomped on the Bills, literally poaching or not poaching, shooting them right where it hurts, and then uh taking the pelt and the fur of the bill into uh the shop and getting some coinage for it going to the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. I don't know. I just think it's kind of funny that it negated the whole neutral site thing. But hopefully whoever they tried to get prepared to hire it on for the concessions and everything that goes behind the scenes for the Atlanta thing has been solved and everybody involved got treated properly.
Yeah, and hopefully some of the workers that would have had there still got some sort of cut.
Yeah.
My bad was the Cowboys finding ways to look like an accident waiting to happen, but this is a bad that was much to my satisfaction.
Dude, we were both watching it live and we were cracking up.
I will mention that later, but there were certain things where like, why would you do that? Or what the heck? There was the corner there was that one Cincinnati thing that I didn't realize. Like when we were talking about it, I was like, oh, you have to score there. I was like, now? But I think that there was a lot of lack of situational awareness for Dallas, unless certain people under center knew what to do throwing it. But the Cowboys, Stephen A. Smith did not have as an effective of a field day on first take. Simple as that. Dan Orlovsky, in simply asking the question to the other contingents and on the show, more than made up for what was there for Dallas fans in not seeing this happen sooner. So what was your ugly this week?
My ugly was the tantrum that Mahomes gave after twisting, or after what was shown that he twisted his ankle on the play where he got sandwiched by two Jaguars defensive ends. It's valid why he was angry about it, but it's also a good thing that Andy Reid would not let him back in until he was certain that Mahomes' ankle didn't get worse, because it could have been even a lot worse than just a high ankle sprain. It could have been a tear in his Achilles. It could have been severe leg damage. We never know, especially with the adrenaline that was pumping into Mahomes during the game, just not knowing how much sore it was going to be after the fact. But I applaud him for playing through the pain and also just being okay at the end of the game, just in general, because God knows what would have really happened.
But then my ugly also involves that AJ Brown being up 31-7 and pouting because he wasn't getting the ball. He's like, I want the ball, but I'm not gonna have this also be something too. It's just like, you're on a team. You're going to have to suck it up and deal. At least a little bit, especially at the high level that the NFL is.
Do you think Diggs would have been the same way if it was him with the big lead with his team, because obviously Diggs is on the other side of that, where his team did not do well, and he decided he did not want to be with the team after that game against the Bengals.
Oh, I don't doubt it. Diggs is not a bad person either. It's just he channels that passion a lot differently than any of the other players. And that's what makes usually an AJ Brown or some of these other people there to watch. But it's like AJ Brown had to address also. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to do all this from a team. It's like I'm not trying to be a diva or anything. I'm like, that's exactly what a diva wide receiver would say. As now 5 of those receivers probably could get cleared away from that table. It's just like, even though the host would be on his own, it's like, you guys did it to yourselves.
True. Yeah.
And of course, it's like, I almost think that AJ Brown is a little bit of a selfish player, but hopefully the two teams manage to get it done.
Dude, AJ Brown made a very not demanding, a very dramatic change to how the Eagles offense worked. Because before he was even in the picture, you only had really Devontae Smith and maybe one other key player as far as that. And then you add AJ Brown, that's like that's a huge upgrade.
Yep. What was the best game for you this week, Ruckus?
It was the Chiefs Jaguars, just strictly because it was a intense game, and at the very beginning, around the second quarter, when Mahomes went down, Henny made his classic appearance of just keeping us in it with that 98 yard touchdown drive, and also just he was giving insurance to Mahomes, but also to the Chiefs Kingdom as well. I honestly whenever I was watching it live, did not want him to play because of the fact that in the preseason and or the earlier this season he had a botch snap or something like that. But he cleaned it up and he looked really good. I will say that. But I was telling my dad, I was like, hey, I do not want that fossil coming in to this game right now. And then as soon as he did that 98-yard touchdown drive, my dad was like, the fossil came in and he dominated. I was like, yeah, I just was a little skeptical. But yeah, Chiefs, Jaguars, best game.
With Giants, not Giants, Cowboys. 49ers, Cowboys. Where that game's finish kind of said all, and it's satisfying to watch the Cowboys lose. And our worst game, I think we both kind of went with the team that had our disappointment team losing.
Mine is the Eagles. Mine is the Eagles Giants because that game was a snooze fest.
And I said Bills Bengals. Your bold take, Ruckus.
My bold take this week, and I know Chiefs Kingdom is going to hate me for it, but I believe the Chiefs Bengals game comes down to a field goal.
And mine, even though it's a question, the bold take here is, what Super Bowl hangover? It's like the Cincinnati Bengals are just looking like as if they are all set for that Super Bowl. And as far as the core team that would be there for Cinderella, is that you would have basically a whole bunch of people in that ally sense, and that none of them will be drinking around or too far around Joe. And I think Joe Burrow will be able to confidently get these Bengals to another Super Bowl and hopefully this time win it. And I'll go ahead and start the burning question here because mine is related to this NFC Championship week. Ruckus, do you think we truly have the best 4 teams remaining in the NFL at this point?
My quick answer to that is yes.
Yeah.
Mainly because we the Giants and the other teams in their division, the Eagles and their other brethren in the Commanders, I believe they're
And the
on
Cowboys
the
and Cowboys and Commanders.
and we saw their true colors, and obviously uh it shows who the best teams really are. The Eagles are a good team. The 49ers are a very hot team going in. And on the AFC side, you have the Chiefs, which they've been good since Mahomes actually stood on the field. And the Cincinnati Bengals, they're a very good team too, and they are more recently involved in being one of the better teams. Because years before, we didn't know whether or not Joe Burrow and company would actually be as successful as they are now. Because Burrow was down with the knee injury. He had a very beat up offensive line that wasn't really protecting your quarterback, which ended up him having the leg injury with the ACL, and you just didn't have a whole lot of weapons until now that at your disposal.
And Burrow also started the season with an appendectomy. So that energy-wise took a lot out of him to begin with. So we knew the Bengals were going to have a little bit of a slow start, but they caught fire at the right time and got back in it. All right, Ruckus, what was your burning question?
Alright, this one's a bit of a long one, but I'll try to sim it down. If there was a documentary on an NFL coach, and when I mean documentary, I mean like one of those ones kind of like you would see like for Moneyball or Bohemian Rhapsody of some sort, where an actor would play a certain figure that was very important to the story and would make it into like a cinematic experience. So my question is, if there was a documentary on an NFL coach, which one would you want to be documented, and who would be the actor that portrays said coach? And my answer to that is Nick Sirianni being played by Bradley Cooper, in a sense, because if you think about it a little bit, the side face kind of matches Nick Sirianni's with Bradley Cooper's. Yeah, the hair might need to be buzzed down and whatnot, but I think Bradley Cooper would be a good role for Nick Sirianni if they did a documentary about up the ups and downs of the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right. So for me, I'm going to go back a good ways for this. And the answer to this question for me, I am probably going to say probably Bill Walsh. And to play him. I'm probably going to have to go with somebody here. See, you got Nina. Oh no, not Nina. Or at least, where was I going with this? I lost the train. But I know that it was going to be an older coach, like Bill Walsh, like a Bill Walsh or something along those lines. But it would be a
Were you
little
thinking
bit of
like?
an.
Go ahead.
Oh wait, what were you gonna? What were you trying to ask? What I was thinking of?
I was trying to think of that actor. Let's see here. Go with your prediction of who you think it could be. It could be Scott Caan, or Martin Landau. That's what
No,
I
but
was
I'd be.
thinking of.
I think if we're talking like a younger Bill Walsh, I almost would have thought like almost like maybe not a RDJ, but I think Bill Walsh is also bigger too. But I definitely think that like like you would almost have like an Eastwood movie about Tom Landry.
That sounds pretty accurate.
Yes, I just said it. Tom Landry, Clint Eastwood. But now we go to the film room. And now we begin to pick. We're going to start with the opening game. San Francisco, Philadelphia. Who you got?
I got the Eagles on this one.
I have no issue with either team, but I am taking the 49ers and I am going to take the Bengals. I'm taking the 49ers and Bengals. And we now go to the bottom half where we can now pick each one up to 3 times. The question is, which one are you going to take for against the spread?
Let's see
The
here.
numbers are low. I think for me, because I'm gonna play this very, very.
Is that it? Is that the accurate number for against the spread for the Chiefs Bengals? Negative 1.5.
I think it's even actually.
So -2.
No, like 0. Like that one is even. Like it's truly a pick 'em. Yeah. So pretty much even. It's gonna go either way.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna double down. I'm taking the Bengals here. Anytime touchdown scorer.
I kind of want to go with Jalen Hurts with the Eagles. Over under.
I think I am actually going to go AJ Brown.
All right, over under. I'm thinking. Chiefs. What's their over under?
47.
I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say over 47. And then with total offense,
I
which
had
team has more
Philadelphia,
in the
San Francisco under 46.
QB with most passing yards? I'm gonna say, for that one, I'm gonna say Mahomes. And then team win by how many points? How are we gonna do this one?
Well, you have. Okay. So for this one, you have done all three of your Chiefs Bengals ones.
Okay.
So you are
now it's just
so you are
Eagles and
predicting the final gap for Philadelphia, San Francisco.
Eagles. I'm gonna say 31 to 31 to 21.
Oh, so you're taking the Eagles by 10.
Yes.
Okay, so here's where I am at. I have all three of my Bengals ones already done too. So I am going to take the 49ers. I'm going to say 49ers by. I'm going to say 49ers by 3. $49 by 3. All right, color commentary. And now that we've kind of gotten through the film room, we are now to color commentary. This week's color commentary is called Pros and Cons. I know that we have 7 here, but I think we're going to cut this down to about maybe 3 or 4 that really, really stick out. And figuring out what the pros and cons are in each situation. And choosing each option. And the first one that kind of comes along, the Indianapolis Colts head coach.
I think the pros are there's a lot of defensive, offensive, and just in general head coaches that have some sort of experience in that field. The cons of that is there's a lot of competition, but the pros of that is definitely like there's a lot of talent out there that could replace what the Colts need. Because obviously Frank Reich wasn't working for whatever reason. Jeff Saturday did a semi decent job at first, and then it just all kind of imploded. But the team in general was already imploded, to be honest.
Yeah. I think the pros for me for the Indianapolis Colts are that you have a little bit of flexibility to try and get you a good marketable quarterback, but you have to do it without spending a ton of money. I think that Dallas is also a very solid person or a very solid team for allowing Washington to kind of really kind of have themselves get back into it.
Yeah.
But I think that the trigger happy owner and the impatient owner are the biggest cons that come with the Colts head coaching job.
That is for sure. Yeah, because he had like a bunch of interviews that they did. They had Bieniemy at the beginning. They had Sean Payton, I believe, at one point. Dan Quinn, a lot of people interviewed for that job, but uh we'll move forward. What's the next team you want to move forward with?
San Francisco and their quarterback situation. What are the pros? What are the pros and cons of having basically 3 quarterbacks that you can go to, but yet none of them really have like a major starting capability?
Well, it's more of a, so the cons of that is the plug and play of that, because no matter who you put in there, you could just have the offensive weapons kind of lead the charge for to help the quarterback in a sense, instead of it being the other way around where the quarterback is like helping out the offense in a way, like more like running and doing more rather than you're throwing to your wide receivers or giving the ball to your running back or whomever. But the pros of this whole situation is you have you have options. Yes, 2 of them are kind of damaged at the moment. You have Trey Lance that's still recovering from his foot problem. The same thing with Jimmy G, but I think Jimmy G's situation is more that he is probably either going to quietly come back with another team that's an underdog or someone that wants the experience that Jimmy G has, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, Brock Purdy is not lost a game for the 49ers yet as a starting quarterback, and who knows? He might be the future of the 49ers organization, or they might try to give Trey Lance another chance, or maybe they give him the backup QB role at the beginning. Who knows?
Yeah, there's the pros and cons is that there's multiple options and multiple directions for the 49ers to go, especially when it comes to the quarterback position. The con is that the 49ers will know exactly what to do, but involve giving up make it involve giving up a quarterback.
Yeah.
This is a situation where you don't necessarily have to do that in certain regards. However, we know how Snyder is. Simple as that. And then the last one that I'm gonna throw out there, just in kind of that adding a little bit of fuel to it, the accident waiting to happen, the Dallas Cowboys.
Um, I think they either I don't know if they keep Mike McCarthy, but I would consider either elevating Dan Quinn as the new not the new quarterback, the new head coach, because I think he has some good experience, even though he had a good year in Atlanta and then eventually downfell. I think Mike McCarthy for the Cowboys is probably not the best option. I think Mike McCarthy has had his better years with Green Bay and now is declining and not really doing a whole lot of good as a head coach. So I think Mike McCarthy either steps down or gets fired and maybe gets hired by someone else. But I don't see Mike McCarthy being a head coach any longer.
I see
Maybe
Mike McCarthy having one more season. But the
maybe
person but the person who really shouldn't have another season is Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator.
I think that, and just like they need to stir the pot up. They need to move some people. I think Ezekiel Elliott is probably going to be either marketed or go to another team. Um, Dak Prescott, I think he's still good. I just don't know whether or not they're going to keep him or trade him. I think he's going to stay put, though, in all honesty. And I think they use whatever they get out of Ezekiel Elliott or whatever money they keep by trading or cutting Ezekiel Elliott. They use for another like wide receiver weapon or running back. But they also need to bolster their defense a little bit more too, because Dexter Lawrence isn't going to do a whole lot for you if he's injured. They need to help out Trayvon Diggs and Micah Parsons. Because
and I don't think it's Dexter Lawrence in this case. It's actually, I think, DeMarcus Lawrence
there you go.
when it comes to the Cowboys.
Nice save, Spenace. Thank you. But yeah, like because the Achilles heel for them was obviously their offense, but also the defense needed to show up too at some parts, and it got beat up near the end. Like Micah Parsons was limping off the field, and they had to get a rookie in there. I just think in general they need to bolster the defense more than the offense, but it would be nice to have one extra wide receiver weapon that isn't washed like T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah. All right. And now we will move on to the primetime game. Previously on this segment, Ruckus and I both created grids for grid trivia, where I ultimately held on and won it 8-5, only missing the very center spot. This primetime game for the episode today is Alma Matters NFL style. Ruckus and I will be using the current NFL, and we'll have a countdown point system starting at 6 and going down to 1. Positions will be used: quarterback, running back 1, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, a flex of running back 2 or wide receiver 3, and a tight end. QBs must not be used in the 6-point round, and the most points wins, and the college of the quarterback is the answer. But the quarterback and what college the quarterback attended for that team can be scored as an extra point if it was not unveiled. So my question to you, Ruckus, who do you want going first?
You know what? I'll go first.
Okay. Here we go. The first one. For 6 points, wide receiver 3, Wake Forest.
Next clue, please. Or next
All
point.
right. For 5 points, tight end, Colorado State.
I still feel like I don't have much to go off of. Go ahead. Next one.
For 4 points, the running back, Pitt.
Whew. Are we? And this is current, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dang. Running back from Pitt. Whew. I feel like this is an obvious one.
The third wide receivers from Wake Forest. The tight end, Colorado State. The running back, Pitt.
All right, next clue, please.
Okay. For 3 points, wide receiver number 2, Oklahoma.
Is this the Arizona Cardinals?
This is the Arizona Cardinals. Now, where did the quarterback attend?
Oklahoma.
That is correct.
I had an oh shit anxiety moment there for a second whenever you said the quarterback, because I was like, okay, which one is he talking about? Is it Colt McCoy? Or is it Kyler Murray with the Oklahoma Sooners? Boomer Sooner!
And that would have been 2 different sides of the Red River rivalry, too.
Bang, bang.
All right.
Bang, bang.
All right, Ruckus. What you got here?
All right. So I'm going to start with the sixth one. So
Alright,
my
so
sixth spot is a tight end number 1 from Auburn.
and
Let me know if you want to skip or try to guess. It's all good.
5-pointer.
The 5-pointer is I believe it's either tight end 2 or tight end 3, and they are from Central Michigan.
Tight end 3 was not on our list.
Or tight end 2, my bad. I don't know. They show up as tight end on the roster.
You said Central Michigan.
Correct.
I gotta go to the 4-pointer.
All right. Number 4 is wide receiver 2, Baylor.
Baylor. And this is an AFC team.
Correct.
3-pointer.
All right. 3-pointer is wide receiver 4. I kind of just gauged it as.
Why did you give me a wide receiver 4? No, wide receiver 1s are given.
I think. Hold on. Wide receiver Mississippi. That's what I should have said. I don't know if it was supposed to be how far we were supposed to go with this, but okay, wide receiver Mississippi. He's more of a wide receiver 2 or 1, but
You've definitely pulled like a lot deeper into the pool. Because this is horrible. This is a horrible run.
I don't know if this is
What am
going to
I?
be easier or
What?
harder for you for the next one.
2-pointer.
Quarterback, Western Kentucky.
Would you give me a Western Kentucky quarterback? Is this the QB1?
In a sense.
Is this Cleveland?
No. You have one more, and
Yeah, I gotta hit it on the 1-pointer.
So this
This
is another wide receiver, but it is from Ohio State.
Wow, why in the world? What in the?
This one's he's wide receiver 1. Ohio State.
What in the world did you do? Because this just
Okay. Do you want are you ready for me to just
what,
say screw
what
it
in
and
the
reveal it?
what in the world? Because you've scrambled into the depth chart maybe a little deeper than where you should have.
I'll just reveal it. So the AFC East New York Jets. So number 6 was CJ Uzama, tight end number 1 Auburn, and then tight end number 2 was Tyler Conklin, tight end Central Michigan, Wide receiver 2, in my opinion, was Elijah Moore. For whatever reason, wide receiver 4, I put
wide receiver 1, yes, was the wide receiver 1 I knew was Garrett Wilson.
So wide receiver, the 4th one was actually Denzel Mims. My bad. That was wide receiver 2 Baylor. Wide receiver 4 Mississippi, I put Elijah Moore because technically he didn't really play. The quarterback was Mike White. That's why I was saying technically he was the winning one. He was not Zach Wilson.
Why did you? Yeah. I would have said BYU. I would have said BYU because I think Wilson played more games than Mike White did.
But Mike White was a better quarterback in my opinion.
Mike White was the better quarterback, but
and then Ohio State was Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, that was Garrett Wilson. I was like, wait, why is he? But I'm looking at this. I'm like, why is he not giving me a running back yet?
Because they all got injured and hurt, and I figured that was gonna be too easy. I figured you would have somewhat gotten it, but it's okay.
That didn't necessarily like fit like the right set of things anyway.
Anyways,
so I get so
can I give you a half because you tried your hardest and I was being difficult?
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of I know that you're gonna score here, so I would have said I probably would have gotten it at the quarterback had you given me the right college.
I'll give you a neutral point.
Yeah, so that'd have been about that probably would have been about 2 points. Okay. So the next one I'm going to give you here for 6 points. Tight end, Washington. And this is talking about the Washington Huskies.
Okay, next one.
For 5 points, wide receiver 3, LSU.
This is the Cincinnati Bengals.
This is an NFC team.
Oh, god damn it. I should have known that because we picked AFC and NFC.
To the 4-pointer. Wide receiver 2, Penn State.
Is this the Los Angeles Rams?
No. For 3 points, the running back, LSU.
The New Orleans Saints.
No. For 2 points, wide receiver number 1, Texas A&M.
Let's see here. Detroit Lions.
Nope. And 1-pointer, quarterback, Michigan.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep, you got it at the 1.
So who was the A&M wide receiver?
That was Mike Evans.
Wow, I thought he was going to be a different college. And then who were the other ones?
Okay, so for your first one, just so I ran them through. The 6-pointer was Greg Dortch.
Okay.
The 5-pointer was rookie Trey McBride. The running back out of Pitt, James Conner. The one you got it on, the Boomer Sooner, Hollywood Brown. Your 2-pointer would have been D-Hop, and then your 1-pointer was Kyler Murray.
Okay. I was wondering what the... Go ahead.
For your Tampa Bay one, The 6-pointer was Cade Otton. The 5-pointer was Russell Gage. The 4-pointer, Chris Godwin,
And Chris Godwin played for.
Penn State.
Okay.
Number 3, the one that I totally thought you would have gotten in on. This was Leonard Fournette.
And he played for.
LSU.
I did not know that. I thought it was Florida State he played for. He seemed like a guy that played for a Florida team.
No, Florida State. Florida State was definitely Cam Akers.
Okay.
But A&M was Mike Evans.
I would have never thought Mike Evans played for Texas A&M.
Yep. All right, what you got here? And hopefully these ones were a little bit further up a natural depth chart.
Sure. Okay, so here we go. The 6th for number 6, fullback Michigan.
Fullback. A team that uses a fullback. Other than the 49ers, who uses a fullback? 5-pointer.
Tight end Alabama.
This is the Houston Texans.
Wow. Yeah.
That's because the 5-pointer that I think you would have given me there is OJ Howard.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what were
So for the 4th.
Hold up. I still have the quarterback college to figure out.
Oh, sorry.
Hold up. Still processing here. Because I believe the quarterback you're needing me to figure out is Davis Mills, right?
So the one I picked was from Houston, but
Oh, that was exactly what. Yeah. I was saying the Houston quarterback, like the.
No,
the,
I mean the college was Houston, but I'll give you.
Why would you? I was gonna say I think it was Davis Mills. That's what I was like. I was trying to remember where Davis Mills went.
I'll give you that one because I didn't know how far along this was gonna be, and I was gonna give you Kyle Allen, but that's okay. We'll do Davis Mills because that's fair. I did kind of screw you over on the last one.
Yeah, because I would have said I think I was gonna say George because I think for Davis Mills and I'm definitely gonna double check myself here. I was definitely thinking it was Georgia for Davis Mills.
That is a good observation because I don't know. I think his was Stanford.
Oh, wait.
Yep, Stanford.
Yeah, it actually is Stanford. Yeah.
Because I was thinking Houston just to like kind of give a clue, but also they had like 3 different freaking quarterbacks. So you're.
Oh well, I knew of at least 2, and then Damian Pierce. I think your running back one you probably would give me was Damian Pierce.
My running back one actually was the running back 2 from Nebraska, which was God damn it. I wish these were kind of in order so I could like go based off of running back or whatnot. But your wide receiver was at Cincinnati. Your running back 4 was from Wisconsin. I don't think he was running back 4, but I wanted to make it difficult on you for that one. But running back 2 Nebraska, I'm trying to figure out which running back was from. Oh, I think it was Rex Burkhead was running back.
Yeah, you were trying. Yeah, you were trying to give me Rex Burkhead. Yeah.
All right, next one.
Okay. All right. For 6 points, tight end, Virginia Tech.
Next one, please.
For 5 points, running back number 1, Alabama.
Is this the Cleveland Browns?
Oh, for the love of God, Ruckus.
I'm stupid.
The NFC!
I keep on forgetting. I'm sorry.
Wide receiver number 2, Ohio State.
And this is the fourth one.
This is for 4 points, yes.
Okay. Detroit Lions.
Nope. Wide receiver number 3, Penn State.
LA Rams.
Nope. Wide receiver number 1, Ohio State, for 2 points.
Okay. I don't. I probably screwed myself on this one. Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, quarterback, Old Dominion.
Is this the Washington Commanders?
This is the Washington Commanders.
I screwed myself heavily when I thought AFC instead of NFC. I was like Alabama. Oh yeah, Nick Chubb, and you're like, and he doesn't even actually play for Bama. He plays for freaking Georgia. And I look at, it, I was
Nick
like,
Chubb went to Georgia.
uh,
Now, if you would have guessed the Tennessee Titans at that point, I would have guided you the wrong conference, but you did have the right running back 1 going to Alabama. So now here for this case, it was Logan Thomas for Virginia Tech, B-Rob for Alabama, wide receiver 2 Ohio State, Curtis Samuel. The wide receiver 3 Penn State, Jahan Dotson. Wide receiver number 1 Ohio State. We both had him as a fantasy wide receiver, Terry McLaurin. And then Heineke for Old Dominion.
all right, y'all ready for this?
Yep.
All right, so for a 6-pointer, wide receiver Oklahoma.
How deep down the chart is it?
Pretty deep. I was being kind of a dirtbag with these.
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving you like true starters here. 5-pointer.
5-pointer, wide receiver, North Texas.
North Texas. I got to go to the 4.
Okay. Tight end number 1, Miami.
Florida or Ohio?
Florida.
Okay. Hmm. 3.
Wide receiver, Michigan.
How far up the chart?
Not very far. Kind of next to they're kind of in between the tight end I was just talking about.
Why do I feel like you've given me so many deeper depth chart players?
All right, next one.
I have either the North or the West.
Correct.
Texas. And you said the tight. And you said that the tight end was tight end North Texas.
Wide receiver was
Or-
North Texas.
wide
Tight end was
receiver.
Miami, Florida. Wide receiver was Michigan. And then for the sixth one, the wide receiver was from Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Where am I at the 3? Or am I at 3 right now?
You're at
Yeah, I should be at 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me the 2-pointer.
Quarterback Clemson.
This has to be Cleveland.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, because was one of those happen to be Donovan Peoples-Jones?
Yep, and the other one was David Njoku.
David Njoku. Yeah.
The wide receiver of Oklahoma was kind of a dead one. It was a no name, but I put it in there anyways, just to throw you off.
And let me guess, the 1-pointer was running back Georgia or running back Toledo?
Georgia.
Yeah, that would have been Nick Chubb. That one I would have given you running back to Toledo. And where would you think I would have gone with that?
Kareem the Punk Hunt.
Kareem Hunt, yep.
Yeah. I hear he's a good punter.
Okay. So Ruckus, how many points do I have going into the last question? Because I know I got 5. I got 5 on the Houston one.
Okay. And then the Jets one, you didn't. I gave you a half point. And then for the Browns, I
got 2.
So
I got 2.
I would just.
So it's 7.
Let's make it 8 even, just because I feel bad.
Yeah, 8. Yeah, so it's 8-6 right now. So in short, you have to get this one by the 3rd point, by the 3-pointer to apply pressure. Actually, the 2-pointer if you can get the quarterback.
All right.
Because all of my quarterbacks have been at 1. And I'll even tell you that right now. Okay. So for 6 points, tight end was a Golden Domer played for Notre Dame.
Tight end Notre Dame.
Tight end Notre Dame.
So, which divisions have I gone through so far? On the NFC? So I had the Buccaneers, which was the NFC East, right, or West. I had the Commanders, which I think is the South, or North. I don't know. Dallas Cowboys.
Nope. Running back number 1, BYU. And this is for 5 points.
I the Atlanta Falcons.
Nope. For 4 points, wide receiver number 3, Texas A&M.
Minnesota Vikings.
Nope. Number 3 for 3 points. Wide receiver number 2, LSU.
New Orleans Saints.
No. For 2 points, wide receiver number 1, USC.
I feel dumb for asking this, but did I already say the Lions for one of my guesses?
You have at previous times, but this one you got it. But now you have to figure out where the quarterback attended.
The quarterback in question played for. Whew. Would that also be USC?
You were in the right conference, but not the correct team. This was one of the 2 Cal Berkeley Golden Bears
UCLA.
of the NFC North. No, as in California Berkeley. Like, this was one of the 2 Golden Bears in the NFC North.
Oh.
Jared Goff went to Cal.
I at least still tied it. Woohoo!
The other one, Aaron Rodgers. Yep. So basically, I have to get this and not completely whiff.
Oh, I have the floor then. Whoo, whoo. All right, you ready? You ready for a absolute stammer? This is the one I told you that you probably hate me for.
Oh, because this is the AFC West.
Uh-huh.
All right.
All right. So, number 6, wide receiver, Hawaii.
Kansas City.
God damn it. How did you figure it out?
Because we knew you were. Because if you're gonna pull something that deep, it was going to be that or else.
Yeah, time to throw away the paper, delete the document. Yep.
Yeah, you didn't hide that one well. When I looked at you and said, yeah, maybe even using my own team, I'm like, I knew that. I'm like, okay, you would logically know where a lot of the big names went.
Not
Now, the fun part,
necessarily. I didn't use any of them that were big names, really. The only ones that could have technically been there were Blake Bell and Justin Watson, but they're not even big names. I had no big names on this list. Western
yeah.
Michigan would have been Sky Moore. Hawaii was Marcus Kemp. And the tight end for the 4th one was going to be Valdosta State, Jody Fortson. And then and then one of the running backs was from Mississippi. But yeah, none of them were key players, really.
Yeah, because you were going like you were trying to go into the obscure to try and rip it.
Man, I shouldn't have given you that half point on the Jets, but it wouldn't have mattered anyways.
It wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered because I totally read and called your bluff when you were thinking like, oh, not use our own teams.
Well, I was thinking about using my own team on the 3rd slot because you used the Commanders, but then I was like, you know what? I feel like that'd be too obvious at that point, but it didn't frickin' matter.
Yeah.
So
but I also knew. But here was the fun one that I could have had. I would have went wide receiver 4 Alabama for the last one, and I'm pretty sure you would have gotten it. Because here were the other names for the last one for me. The tight end was Brock Wright because they no longer had TJ Hawkinson. BYU, Jamal Williams.
I
The
was
Texas
thinking for whatever reason he played for Alabama, and that's why I was thinking, I don't want to say the Detroit Lions because I'm pretty sure Switch probably didn't play for BYU. So
the Alabama player that I would have had there would have been Jamison Williams. Same first initial, last name, same last name, but different.
Yeah.
The LSU receiver in this case would not have been Justin Jefferson. It was DJ Chark. And the one that you got it on was Amon-Ra St. Brown. You got it on Amon-Ra St. Brown.
So I had 8, and then you got 14.
I would have been at 14.
You didn't guess the quarterback, but there was no quarterback for mine, so haha.
Oh yeah. Well, let's just say at that point I would have said Texas Tech.
Yep.
15-8.
I should have used that at the beginning just to screw with you, but oh well. You live and you'll learn.
All right. Well, time for the weekly stud and dud for us this week.
Bum 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 bum.
Well, let's go with our studs this week to start. What you got, Ruckus?
I got my stud as T. Kelsey with 14 receptions for 98 yards and 2 tutties.
And that also was an NFL record for most catches in a single game by a tight end for a playoff game. Yeah, something along those lines. All right. Well, I had an honorable mention of Micah Parsons with using a mostly single arm block shed on Mike McGlinchey to pretty much get him horizontal on the way down to the ground. Like, just Parsons was that strong. And you put Pacheco there again?
Yes, because do you want me to do my honorable mention just now?
Yeah. Yeah.
So my honorable mention for stud is a recent development where Isaiah Pacheco and some other Chiefs players went to a local restaurant in Kansas City called Pega's in Shawnee, where they went to go there to eat, and Isaiah Pacheco has been going there regularly getting French toast.
Yeah.
Supporting local businesses, people, you should do it. Please do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you never know what good stuff you're gonna find. Oh, but I think the funniest thing here was also another big strength thing for Stud, and it was hilarious seeing all this. It was Kyle Juszczyk, trolling Trent Williams during a media session in the locker room after a practice following the Seattle game last week, where this was in that Seattle game, Juszczyk accidentally pancaked Trent Williams on a play, and it was the whole Juszczyk was trolling Williams over it, and Williams was like, "Yeah, we still ain't cool," but yet he's laughing the whole time as Kyle Juszczyk is doing this. So it was just a sense of team like morale and camaraderie there that was funny for the for my that it just was too good to pass up. And your duds this week, Ruckus.
Not to be insensitive to the Hamlin family, I'm glad that Damar Hamlin is recovering well and he's getting the care that he needs. But we need to address the elephant in the room. When the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals played, every time they would show the feed of the Hamlins in the booth, there was always a lot of snow blocking the view of the Hamlin family. So you couldn't tell if it was the Hamlin family or if it was just some random people in the suite. But obviously they knew where the Hamlins were, but it was hard to see. So my dud is the CBS broadcast showing the Hamlin family live when the snow was really interrupting the view. And it was literally every time too, which they couldn't help it, but still. I feel like if it, common common sense wise, you would probably try to do a better job of that. Like maybe get like a side view, like they do with the guys in the booth with the defensive and offensive coordinators. But it's kind of hard to do that in a public seat, whereas a private venue thing.
Right.
But still, like I feel like they should have coordinated it better.
Okay. And then I'm sure your honorable mention involved something as well.
So Tony Romo was recently in a Michelob Ultra commercial, and he's doing a very poor impression of Happy Gilmore while trying to hit a dandelion with a golf club. I could have also probably put the fact that he was saying that the Cowboys looked like they could go to the Super Bowl or whatever, and obviously that didn't happen, but that's hearsay. Alright, Spenace.
Okay, so my first dud involves a certain Fox pundit in an altercation in Memphis involving the Grizzlies. Which pundit am I talking about?
Skip!
Well, it actually was not Skip.
Or, not Skip, Shannon Sharp.
It was Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp.
I mean, I kind of hit the nail on the head there.
I mean, he's there looking like a buff grandpa in that sweater. But at the same time, it was like, why? I mean, and all he was saying was just that a certain player was too little to guard LeBron James. But yet somebody blew it out of proportion, and it caused something a whole lot worse than what it should have been. On both ends. But the real dud, and this was why I would say I laughed a little too hard. The final play for the Cowboys against the 49ers, and it was executed almost as terribly as the Colts catastrophe in 2015. So, in short, they go into this final play, and they put Zeke Elliott at center. First of all, mind you, Ezekiel Elliott is a running back. You've got linemen to the outside thinking you can form a convoy. Okay. But at the same time, you have your running back snapping you the ball. You then hit the short receiver who is pretty much isolated on a small little island and not really able to provide a good lateral for a hook and ladder to really kick off a hook and ladder. And he goes and immediately gets blown up for a gain of only like 7 or 8. But all the while Zeke Elliott is trying to pull pass protection, he gets just straight up folded like a lawn chair.
Yep.
And Ruckus and I were both on a Discord call on Sunday planning the show as this was happening.
Yeah, it was
And
not pretty.
I lost it. Stephen A's field day was nowhere near as impressive because he kept going for the low-hanging fruit. And I think that's another dud to go along with this was that Stephen A he simply was just going for the low hanging fruit of like, Dallas, you lost to a Mr. Irrelevant. I'm like, everybody has been losing to a Mr. Irrelevant. You don't necessarily have to throw the salt into the wound on that one.
Or the gunpowder, might I add. Friggin' pull a Sylvester Stallone Rambo and just like put gunpowder into the wound and then just like try to cauterize the wound with it. Like, come on, man. Someone could friggin' put a lighter to that and then, rest is history.
But what I did like about the first take segment and listening to that through was actually the Dan Orlovsky and Michael Irvin takes on the whole thing. And that their takes were actually very objective about the football, about the actual football that was being played. And that they actually were looking at it from a true football perspective. And that is Dak Prescott a terrible quarterback? Absolutely not. But is he right now playing his best football when the lights are shining brightest? Again, absolutely not. And that was what was called out. And on that note, Ruckus, go ahead and take us out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Ruckus and the Menace podcast. Sports podcast, I should say. I am Ruckus, always causing a ruckus.
And I'm Spenace and Menace.
Thank you for listening to our podcast, and also, should we semi-announce it or just leave it for later?
Leave it. I would honestly not do anything until we confirm, until we really actually, till closer time when we've got more things confirmed.
Okay, cool. Never mind then. Thank you for listening. Share the podcast with your friends and family. Leave a like if you feel like doing so. Also, if you have any suggestions and or questions and or ideas, or just want to reach out and say hello, a comment on the video is much appreciated. We will get to it as soon as we can, or in 2 weeks prior, because sometimes I just don't see it. But yeah. Also a big shout out to two nerds. I should have said that a couple weeks ago, but I did put a post about it a week or so ago because Spenace was in the episode. But yeah. This has been Ruckus and the Menace. Have a good night or day. See you later.
Deuces.